My name is Lucy Emerton, and I work for the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. That's IUCN. And I'm an economist, which is actually quite unusual in environmental conservation. I run IUCN's Global Economics Programme. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm running a training workshop on a mechanism called payment for environmental services. And I'm going to tell you a bit about this. What payment for environmental services are something which we're increasingly using in conservation to give normal people incentives to save the environment. There's a little bit of economics background to this, which I hope won't bore you, but one of the big problems that we've faced for many, many years is that when people think of the economic value of the environment, they just think of all the products that come out of it. So if they're thinking of coral reefs, they think about fish and diving. They don't think about the fact there are many other very economically valuable services from coral reefs. Protecting against storms, guarding coastlines, mangroves, guarding against flooding, helping in offsetting the effects of global warming. So we got that problem on the economic value side. At the same time, conservationists, when they think about conserving the environment, they just think about paying for the vehicles, the staff, the buildings that they need to manage national parks. So traditionally, we've had a big undervaluation of the benefits of the environment and a big undervaluation of the costs. Now, in fact, there's far, far more. There are far, far more benefits than fish and timber, and there are far more costs than just buildings and staff. There's a big cost of conservation is in restricting the environmentally damaging activities that people carry out. But at the moment, we find a real problem that we don't have sufficient money going to the people who are responsible for conserving the environment. If I'm a fisherman around a coral reef, I won't necessarily get any benefits from fishing less, even if that's damaging to the environment. If I am somebody who is benefiting from the flood control function of wetlands, I don't pay for that benefit. I'll pay for the fish, but I won't pay for the wider benefits. And we have a real problem where the government agencies who manage the environment have not got sufficient funds, and the landholders and resource users who need to restrict their uses have no economic incentive. Even if what they're doing is providing goods for the greater good of society, they're not compensated. Payment for environmental services attempt to try and capture those broader values and cover those broader costs. So they're a mechanism for saying the environment gives very valuable services, not just products like fish and timber. The people who receive those services are getting them for free, but at the same time, somebody's bearing a cost to provide them. So it's a mechanism for saying, maybe to the hydropower scheme, who's benefiting from the watershed catchment protection service of forests, you need to pay something for that service, and that money needs to go to the people who are managing the forest to provide you with those services. Saying to the city that's being protected by mangroves against storms, you need to reallocate a little bit of budget to the people who are actually managing those mangroves and giving you those services. So what we're doing here is having a training workshop from people all over Asia who are responsible for managing the environment to teach them about payment for environmental services as a way of helping them to raise more money for conservation, but also helping them to cover the costs of all the fishermen, the farmers, the landholders who are actually helping them in their job of conserving those ecosystems.